Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Okay, so today on the deep dive, we're going to jump into something that looks like it's really caught your attention lately, and that's the potential for some serious Duke-Alabama basketball matchups.
Yeah, and it looks like a lot of you're really getting into the details here. Like, we've got a ton of your recent searches, and it's clear you're not just kind of passively interested, but you're really trying to understand what makes this a potential rivalry so intriguing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at the sheer volume and just the variety of searches you've all been making, it really tells us a lot, right?
Yeah.
Like, folks aren't just, sort of on the surface here. You're really digging deep. You're interested in the past and the present, and even trying to look ahead into the future of these two teams going head to head.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I think what's really interesting is, we're going to get into it more, but just the sheer volume of these searches shows that it's not just like a passing interest or whatever.
Right.
This is something that's capturing people's attention.
Right. And it's not just Duke, right? There are a bunch of searches for Alabama basketball, there's schedules, scores. You're all clearly interested in both sides of this potential matchup.
Exactly. It takes two to tango, right? I mean, you gotta know what both teams are bringing to the table to really appreciate, what a matchup could look like. So yes, it's interesting to see people digging into both programs.
Okay, so let's start with the past, right? We're seeing a lot of searches for Duke versus Alabama, Alabama versus Duke, and of course, got to keep up with the score, right? So Duke, Alabama score. Who won, Duke or Alabama? It seems like you're all really trying to piece together, like the narrative, like how have these teams, how have they met up before? What's the history here?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that right there is fascinating to me. Like that you want to look back, right? Almost like you're searching for a pattern, trying to see how these teams, have they always been evenly matched, or is there some sort of, historical trend? And I think that kind of curiosity about the past, it's often like a key ingredient, right? When it comes to building a really, captivating rivalry, you want to feel like there's some history there, some weight to the matchup.
Right. Like, it's not just, oh, these two teams happen to be playing this year. It's like there's a backstory.
Exactly. It adds another dimension.
All right. So moving into the present, it's pretty clear, the interest in Duke's current squad is intense. Like, people are searching for Duke basketball roster, Duke roster 2025, and we're seeing a ton of specific player names popping up. Cooper Flagg, Hunt Weeple, Caleb Foster. Like, clearly you all are really invested in who's out there on the court, right?
Oh yeah, it's like you guys are putting together your fantasy teams already. You're scouting, you're doing your research, and the focus on individual players, that's huge. It's more than just, oh, I like Duke. It's I like Duke, and I like this specific player and how he fits into the team and how he plays against, another specific player on the opposing team. That kind of thing. That's a really deep level of engagement.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you're all building your own scouting reports, based on what you're searching.
Quite exactly. It's like armchair analysts out there, really getting deep into it.
Right. And speaking of analysts, we also see a lot of interest in the leadership, right? With searches for Duke coach, John Shire, and even Coach K is still making appearances in these searches. Clearly the man at the helm, that matters a lot to folks.
Of course.
Right.
I mean, the coach, they're the architect, right? They set the tone, they build a system, and in college basketball especially, I mean, they can become these larger-than-life figures. So it makes sense that you're all paying attention to who's calling the shots.
Right.
And the fact that you're still searching for Coach K, even though he's retired, it just speaks to his legacy, and the impact he had. Like, he's still casting a shadow, even though he's not on the sidelines anymore.
Yeah, totally. All right, so on a more practical level, right? We're seeing a ton of searches for things like where to watch Duke Blue Devils men's basketball versus Alabama Crimson Tide men's basketball. What channel is the Duke game on today? Like, you want to actually watch these potential matchups, right? You're not just reading about it. You want to see it happen.
Yeah, exactly. This is like the active fan experience. It's not enough to just know about the teams,
Yeah.
you got to see them in action. And that's where it gets real. I mean, that's where the anticipation, the excitement, all of that comes together.
Right. And speaking of anticipation, let's talk about the future, right? This is where things get really interesting. We're seeing searches for Duke versus Alabama prediction, and then there's mentions of Duke Final Four, Elite Eight. Like, you're already thinking about the really high stakes games down the road, right?
Absolutely. This is like, you're taking a regular season matchup and projecting it onto the biggest stage, right? The NCAA tournament. And that just amplifies everything. The excitement, the drama, the stakes are just so much higher when you start thinking about those do or die games.
And that's what makes these searches so interesting, right? Like, you're not just thinking about a one-off game, you're thinking about like these two teams meeting with everything on the line.
Right. It's almost like a chess match in a way,
Yeah.
You're thinking several moves ahead, anticipating how these two teams might match up down the road.
So, I mean, when we put all this together, right, all these different searches, it paints a really, really clear picture, right? There's a deep and varied interest in this potential Duke-Alabama rivalry. It's about understanding the history, knowing the current teams, the coaches, figuring out how to watch the games, and then anticipating those huge future potential matchups. And, I think one of the key takeaways here is the focus on individual players, right? Like, you're all really, really invested in that level of detail.
Oh, and it all points to an active, informed fan base, right? People who are really invested in these programs and maybe even kind of hoping for that clash to happen at some point.
Exactly. Okay, so here's something to think about, right? Given all this interest you've all shown, all these searches, what do you think are the really essential elements, for a college basketball rivalry to like truly take hold and really last in this digitally connected world we live in, right? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to leave everyone with. What makes a rivalry, in the age of Twitter and all that? What are the ingredients?
Exactly. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next time on the deep dive.
See you next time.
Today is your lucky day. Today is the day that our $3 website works for you, paying you directly to your PayPal daily. Imagine $3 ongoing continuous payments to your PayPal account. Imagine falling asleep and waking up to $300 in your PayPal account. How would this make you feel? How could this help you? What bills could you pay? What kind of fun could you have? What does that retirement look like now? All for a one-time payment of $3. This website is DFY done for you, fully built and completely hosted, and never stops collecting payments for you. You have spent $3 on coffee on a regular, but that coffee won't help you create multiple streams of income. Click the link below.